Okay, so we've got the center console section, center part of the car out, I should say. Now, while we've got this out, there's a few things we're going to assess. This is a 360-degree camera system module. Now, it's powered through this here, which is plugged into the back of the stereo. So when we get closer to putting that back in, we'll start troubleshooting that, but we'll just check everything in the meantime. But before that happens, this center gauge section, we are going to pull back out and finish off and get all that sorted first, and then get all this put back together. The 360 camera system does have a control with it, but I lost it. So if I can at least get it to turn on and have it turn on when the car goes into reverse, then that'll solve that problem. The rest I'll figure out later on. But first of all, let's get these custom gauges sorted out. We'll do the repairs and then we'll get the wiring done. I say, okay, so putting the gauges in here, we've come across a slight problem. The other gauge, this exhaust temperature gauge, got damaged originally, and I ordered another one. We've already welded the temperature sensor into the exhaust, and I've lost the gauge. I've spent the last 40 minutes looking for it. I have no idea where it is, what I've done with it. Clearly misplaced it. But this original one that we broke, I can, for now, put it back in. The only thing it won't do is change the colour of the screen. That's about it. But I've sorted the exact same one again. I'll probably find the one in the process, but we'll put this thing in, put it back together. At least we can get it running and tested, and then we'll just get another one in the future. So we'll slap this thing back together, get it in there, and do the wiring.
I've been roaming around, always looking down at all I see. Painted faces fill the places I can't reach. You know that I can use somebody. You know that I can use somebody. Someone like you.
Okay, so the gauge is back together. We'll see if it works. If not, at least we can test something. But now, this is what we want to do here. This heads-up display works very, very well. We want to make it pretty because you can see all this edging and everything in here. So we're going to make an edge that goes all the way around here to dress all that up, make that a little bit more beautiful. But the heads-up display actually works really, really well on the car. Super bright, very informative. So we'll get that made. Okay, originally when the gauges were, the center custom gauges were wired in, they were wired into this piece of communications cable. So it had everything we need there, and our connections were all made here. So everything was commoned up, you know, positive, negative. That's our outputs for the temperature sensor, which is just here. And the rest of this, which is obviously goes down here, is our connections to everything. Now, some of that is for the oil temperature sensor, so that will run through a hole that we have in the firewall that we've put down here, and then through the bay to the oil pressure sensor, sorry, not temperature sensor. So that will be run through there and prepped as well. So we're going to hook all the positives and negatives up, have all that plugged in. We're going to plug in the temperature sensor. So we'll have everything there ready to go. The oil pressure one won't be going straight away because it's a few extra things in the bay we've got to do yet, some fittings and bits and pieces. But at least we'll have that ready. Everything's gluing at the moment. We can fit that in. The heads-up display. The gauge is damaged. We'll see if it works or not. I don't know. But at least it's wired in and everything's sort of sorted out. We can swap that out on the spot. So we'll have that finished as far as we can. We will have a look at the temperature, the pressure sender unit as well, and get that worked out. And then everything else from there is the center and this 360 camera system for this bit anyway.
hitting dust. Raging demon on rhythms.
So we've glued up the gauge pod. Nice edge around there now, so when it's over and sitting, you won't see that back anymore, and even on the front. Now, being that this is a cheaper aftermarket part, these things here obviously are cheaper plastic and don't handle the sun real well. Even these cheaper gauges, I mean, they get pretty hot. It's pretty hot in the front of the car. But at least it's a snug fit now. This one's a snug fit. This is the temporary gauge, but it might work. We'll see what happens. But anyway, so let's get this reinstalled in the car and start fitting our way down. The stereo is sort of the last thing that center console thing is going to go back in, but we'll get all this sorted first, and then we're going to run the lines for the pressure switch. So, location of the oil pressure sensor. Now, that is located down the bottom here, underneath near the engine vent. Now, to get to that, easiest way is to remove all this air cleaner, the box, the hosing and everything, straight access down into there. Now, I'll show you where that is on another engine that we have over here. Now, this is a turbo barra, but you can see the location of those two sensors right there. Either one of those coming out with an adapter onto it will give you straight access to what you need to do. So we'll pull ours apart and get that switch sorted. All we're going to do for now is run the wiring that we have, which goes down here. So we're going to just spool it up here for now, because we've got all this filter and everything out here. And a bit of a clean before we put it all back in, but I'm going to run this line through here and up along to here, and along across the brake lines down through that hole that we have right there that we drilled in the firewall a little while ago. So we're going to get all that in, just get that prepped, throw the wiring on the inside. Now we're going to need an adapter that'll actually screw the two units together on a spacer. I don't think I've got one here, but this just means we'll just go get one. So the car's not going anywhere at the moment, but that'll be something to sort out as well. So we'll get this wire on and then get the sensor in.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything the same way. Gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay. Just let me be me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace. I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be the same. I don't really wanna hurt you, but I can't control the pain. If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change I need today. I promise that I've never felt this way. I really hope that you will
strong and why you never said you felt that way. And guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
Like nothing I found, my mind overwhelms. I think that I'm broken, but I hope you can't help. I know I'm not perfect, but some days I feel far more worthless. Baby, you make me feel nervous. If I still have you, I have purpose. It's all worth it.
I know you told your friend you're not okay, and tell me what's wrong and why you never said you felt that way. I guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away. As you fade away. As you fade away.
Okay, so we've gone out and got the fittings for the oil sender unit for the gauge. So we have here, get it open. What we have here is our two sender units. This is the standard one that goes in the block, and this is the aftermarket one. Now, normally you would have a slightly bigger one than this, so this you wouldn't have to have this adapter or this adapter. But in this case they didn't have it, so just get the car on the road right now. That'll screw into there and that'll go into there quite nicely. So we'll thread tape them up, get them back in the block, plug everything in, and then we're back at a point that when we start the car we won't have oil spewing outside of the block. So I'll get them together, get them in, yeah, and then that's good for an oil gauge. So for an aftermarket oil gauge, pressure gauge, or anything that you want for an electronic sender unit, that is the way to go. Two gauges on a tee, two senders on a tee off, put it together and it's in there and it will solve your problem. Okay, so when chucking this back in, a little bit of thread tape on each of the threads, obviously, a little bit in the block there. You don't want too much, and make sure you don't obscure any of the holes. So we'll screw this back in. So when putting that unit in, I didn't have enough room to spin it around with that outside unit on there. So take that off, spin it on, bit of tough room. You can get a $2 spanner and bend it in there to help you, but get that in and screw that sensor back on. So we got it all in, got it all plugged in, As long as when we start the car, oil's not spewing outside of the motor, that's the important thing. So we're going to get this fired up shortly, and then we'll see how that goes once we get everything else sorted. But yeah, so to put in that gauge, it's pretty simple, as I said. Down in that corner, right in there. Easiest way to find that engine mount, slide straight in. Sensor at the back, there's two side by side, the one at the back of the block. Pull that out, swap it over, chuck it back in. Done. Okay, so we're going to test fire up this car now, but what we're going to do, we'll just plug in these couple of gauges to see if they're working while we're going. And we're also going to make sure there's nothing leaking outside of the block too. So. Oh dear. Just set them up here for now and see what happens. That, this is working. Beautiful. Didn't even change the colour. This one's stuck on blue, that's cool. Let's go check Daddy on. Seems dry, it's good, everything's working, sweet job. The center console section is all put back together now. It's time to just reinstall and put in now. When we put this back in, we have to make sure obviously these leads for the gauges are out, but this clip here pushes into this section, so we don't have any room here. We've got to kind of tuck it in this area here, and it'll just sort of force its way out and then tidy those leads up. So we'll get this pushed back in, make sure it all functions again. The 360-degree camera system will stay disconnected for now. We're going to run a separate monitor for that because we can't get any of that to function through this system for some reason. But we'll get this back in so we can get the car up and running again.
We are going to play a typical number.
Okay, so with our center custom gauge installation, we have our piece here that we've put together. Now this is just a cheap aftermarket bottom piece. I can't remember how much it was, but I think it was like 50 bucks or something, I'm not sure, but for what it is, I mean, the plastic a little bit warped, but hey, it's better than paying an exorbitant amount of price for something else. And the heads-up display. So we're going to pop all that in now, put the wires through, strap the two gauges we have at the moment in there, which are working fine. We'll double check all of that, and we will just clip that in, just pop straight in. Hopefully with the new center console, the new center shred, we should be fine. So we'll check that out as we stick it in. So we've installed it, all the gauges are working, nice and pretty, heads-up display, center console, center stereo shred, sorry, is all in there functioning. So one of the things that wasn't working originally was actually the steering controls for the stereo. Now, the Cruise control worked, the steering controls did not. I don't know whether it was faulty in the controls or that it wasn't reading the stereo, but I had someone else look at it who's done a lot more than me, and they reckon it's probably the controls. So we're going to pop the steering wheel off, plug in the other set of controls, the spare set of controls I have, and see if it makes any difference. But other than that, it's up and working together. It's very pretty, so on to putting the rest of it back together. But that's that. Finally in, we have oil pressure. The exhaust temp's probably not up to high temps yet, but yeah, we'll see how it goes and see if it functions when we drive.